Hello everyone, I'm Shweta. Today we are learning problem solving technique paper, subject computer science, semester 1, session number 36. Topic sorting by exchange bubble sort. Today we are learning sorting techniques. In that we will learn bubble sort technique. Starting with what is sorting? Sorting is nothing but arranging the data in ascending or descending order. Think that you have a list of elements, array of elements, and the elements are not in order. It is unordered or unsorted. In that situation, if you want to make that list as sorted or ordered list, then we have to apply the sorting technique to make the list sorted or ordered list. ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಇವಾಗ ಅರೇ ಆಫ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಆ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸು ಆರ್ಡರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಅರೇಂಜ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಆಗ ನಾವು ಆ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಅರೇಂಜ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿ ತರಬೇಕಂತಂದರೆ ಸಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ನ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಸಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅರೇ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಅಸೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಥವಾ ಡಿಸೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಡರಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಸೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ 0 to 9 or A to Z. Descending means it is opposite, Z to A. Sorting arranges the data in a sequence which makes the searching easier. So what is the main purpose of sorting the elements in the list is the sorted list will make the searching operation easy. So if you want to search any element, you can go in, it is easy if the list is ordered. Otherwise we have to start searching from the first element to last element to get our desired element. So sorted ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್ ಏನಂದರೆ ಸರ್ಚಿಂಗ್ ಆಪ್ರೇಷನ್ ಈಸಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಸಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಲಿಸ್ಟು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟಿಂದ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ತನಕ ಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. There are different types of sorting techniques like bubble sort, selection sort, insertion sort, merge sort and quick sort. Let's start with the first sorting technique, that is a bubble sort. Bubble sort is a simple algorithm which is used to sort a given set of n elements provided in the form of an array with n number of elements. Think that we have an array with n number of elements. So if we want to make that elements in an ordered list or a sorted order, then we can make use of bubble sort. ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಅರೇ ಇದೆ, ಅರೇನಲ್ಲಿ n ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಆಗಿ ತರಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಬಬಲ್ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಬಬಲ್ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಕಂಪೇರ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಒನ್ ಬೈ ಒನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ದೆಮ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದೇರ್ values. So how bubble sort will work means, if it will compare one element with the other element based on the value, it will swap the element if it is required, otherwise it will go to the next element. ಸೊ ಬಬಲ್ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಒನ್ ಬೈ ಒನ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ನೀಡಿದರೆ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಸ್ವ್ಯಾಪ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಆರ್ಡರಾಗಿ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆನ್ ಟು ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್. If the given array has to be sorted in ascending order, then bubble sort will start by comparing the first element of the array with the second element. If the first element is greater than the second element, it will swap both the elements and then move on to compare the second and third element and so on. Think that if we have n number of elements in an array, the bubble sort will start comparing the first element and the second element. Always it will start the operation from the first element. So it will compare the first element with the second element. If first element is smaller than the second element, then no need to exchange the elements because it is already in sorted order. If your first element is larger than the second element, so second element is smaller but the first element is larger, in that case it is not in ascending order. At that time it will swap the first element with the second element and second element with the first element. After swapping, it will move on with second and third element. It will start comparing second element with the third element. ಸೊ ಬಬಲ್ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಹೇಗೆ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಅದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟಿಂದ ಕಂಪ್ಯಾರಿಷನ್ನ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ನ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಜೊತೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲರ್ ಇದ್ದು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಲಾರ್ಜರ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅದು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಸಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ವ್ಯಾಪ್ ಮಾಡೋ ನೀಡ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಲಾರ್ಜರ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲರ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಆಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಎರಡು ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ನ ಸ್ವ್ಯಾಪ್ ಮಾಡೋ ನೆಸೆಸಿಟಿ ಇರತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಥರ ಸ್ವ್ಯಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಾದಮೇಲೆ ಬಬಲ್ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ನ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫೋರ್ತ್, ಅದೇ ಥರ ಎನ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ತನಕ ಕಂಪ್ಯಾರಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. If we have total n elements, then we need to repeat this process for n number of times. So think that if you have a n number of elements in the array, then you have to do this repetition for n minus 1 number of times. So how to implement bubble sort algorithm? Following are the steps involved in bubble sort for sorting a given array in the ascending order. So here we are taking a priority of ascending order. We are sorting the elements from 1 to n. Starting with the first element, that is index value 0. So we know that index of an array starts from the 0 to n minus 1. So if we want to start the comparison from the first element, obviously the index value will be 0. Compare the current element with the next element of the array. So always bubble sort will start comparison from the first element and it will compare it with the second element, the next element. If the current element is greater than the next element of the array, swap them. So if your first element is greater than the second element, then we have to swap the first element with the second element with the first element. If the current element is less than the next element, move on to the next element and repeat step number 1. So if your current element, the first element is lesser than the next element, then no need to do any swapping. You can move on with the next element comparison. So in that way, we have to repeat n minus 1 number of times. Here is an example. We can see we have array of elements, like totally 6 elements are there, 32, 50, 16, 42, 9 and 3. And we can observe array A starts with the index value 0. So first value is A of 0, 32, A of 1, 50, A of 2, 16, A of 3, 42, A of 4, 9, A of 5, 3. So totally we have 6 elements in the array, starting with the index value A of 0 to the last element A of 5. So in the first iteration, in the first pass, the comparison for the pass 1 are as follows. So what it will do here, so here we have the first element 32. That 32 will get compared with the next element, that is 50. So A of 0 will get compared with A of 1. So in this case, we can observe that 32 is smaller than the 50. First element is lesser than the second element, then no need to do any swapping, no need to do any interchange. Then it will move on to the next element, second and third. Here the second element is 50 and the third element is 16. So if you observe the second and third element, second element is larger than the third element. So at that time it is a need to interchange them, we need to swap them. So in the next, you can see that in first place we have 32, in second place instead of 50 we have 16, and 50 has moved on to the third place. Then we have to compare the next elements, third and fourth element. Third element is 50 and fourth element is 42. So third element is larger than the 42, that is the fourth element. So then again we need to do a swapping. So after swapping, we can observe first element is 32, second element is 16, third element is 42 and the fourth element is 50. Now comparison will start from 50 and 9, next position. Again 50 is larger than the element 9, so we need to swap them again. After swapping, we can see that 32, 16, 42, 9 and 50. After that, we have to compare last two elements, that is 50 and 3. Again the element 50 is larger and 3 is lesser, so again we have to swap that neighbor element, so that we will get 3 earlier and 50 as the last element. So after one iteration, we can see that the elements are 32, 16, 42, 9, 3 and 50. So after one first iteration, we can observe the highest value of the array has placed in the last place. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಯಾವುದು ಅಂದರೆ 50 ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಒನ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸಾರ್ಟೆಡ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಲಾರ್ಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಲಾರ್ಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಅರೇ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ last position now. So one element got sorted. In the same order we have to do for other elements. So that is the second pass or the second iteration. Again, second iteration starts from first element and the second element. So now we need to compare with n minus 1 element, because last element is already sorted, 50, it is already in the correct position. So now we have to leave 50 and we have to do comparison with the other elements. ಸೊ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಟಿರೇಷನಲ್ಲಿ 50 ಈಸ್ ದ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್, ಅದು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಆ 50 ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ದನ್ನು ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಡೂ ದ n-1 ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯಾರಿಸನ್. The first element is 32, the second element is 16. So again, the first element is larger and the second element is smaller. So we need to swap it. After swapping or after interchanging, now we can observe that the first element is 16 and the second element is 32. Again, we need to compare the second and third element. But when you compare the second element 32 with the third element 42, 32 is lesser than 42. So no need to do any interchange or swapping. Then compare third element with the fourth element, that is 42 with the 9. So here 9 is lesser than the 42. So it is a need, we need to swap both of them. After swapping, we can observe the elements are 62, 32, 9, 42, 3 and 3. Again, we need to compare the 42 and 3. 3 is lesser, 42 is larger. Again, we have to swap it. After the second iteration, we can observe last two elements are in sorted order, that is 50 ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಟಿರೇಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿತ್ತು, ಈ ಇಟಿರೇಷನಲ್ಲಿ 42. ಸೊ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅವೆರಡು ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಸಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಟಿರೇಷನ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಒನ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಲೆಸರ್, ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಈಗ 1 to 4 ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯಾರಿಸನ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಯು ಕಂಪೇರ್ 16 and 32, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಲೆಸರ್, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಲಾರ್ಜರ್, ಸೊ ನೋ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಎನಿ ಸ್ವ್ಯಾಪಿಂಗ್. In the next iteration, you compare 32 and 9. So 9 is lesser, 32 is larger. So again we need to swap them. After swapping, we will get 32 in the third position, 9 in the second position. Then compare 32 with 3. So again 3 is lesser, 32 is larger. It will get swapped. After this iteration, you can observe last 3 elements are in the correct place, that is 32, 42 and 50. All 3 elements are sorted and it is in the correct position. After that, we will come to the pass 4, that is the iteration 4. Now compare first element with the second element, that is 16 with the 9. So 9 is smaller, 16 is larger, so we need to swap it. After swapping, we can observe the first 3 elements 9, 16 and 3. Again compare the second element with the third element. Third element is smaller, second element is larger, so we need to interchange it or swap it. So then the third element will be 16, second element will be 3. So after this fourth iteration, we can observe last 4 elements are in proper order, that is 16, 32, 42 and 50. ಈ ಇಟಿರೇಷನ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ 4 ಇಟಿರೇಷನ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ 4 ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಆರ್ಡರಲ್ಲಿದೆ, 16, 32, 42 and 50. In the fifth iteration, we are left with first 2 elements, only 2 elements. Compare 9 and 3. After comparison, we will observe that 9 is larger than 3, so we need to swap it. After swapping, we can, other elements are already sorted, so no need to do any comparison or swapping. So now we can observe that 9, 16, 32, 42, 50, all elements are in sorted. Obviously the first element is also sorted, so no need to do any comparison or no need to follow any iteration now, because all elements got sorted and it is in a proper ascending order. So here we have a bubble sort technique algorithm. So bubble sort algorithm starts with the array A, starting with the index value 0 to n-1. In step 1, we have to repeat the step number 2 for I0 to n-1. So step 2 should be repeated for all the values starting from I value 0 to n minus 1. So till n minus 1 the steps need to be repeated. What do you have in step number 2? So repeat for j equals I plus 1 to n minus 1. So you have to start the comparison from I plus 1 element with the j, and you need to repeat it n minus 1 number of times. In step 3, you are comparing your current element with the next element, that is A of j with A of I. So if you get to know that the A of j is greater than A of I, then we need to swap it. If the first element is larger than the second element, then we have to swap both the elements. Otherwise, no need to do any swapping. You can go back to step number 2. In the same way, the loop will be repeated until all the elements will get sorted. So in this bubble sort, we need to remember that sorting is nothing but arranging the data in ascending or descending order. So if we want to bring the elements in ascending or descending order, we need to follow the sorting technique. Sorting arranges the data in a sequence which makes the searching easier. So what is the advantage of sorting operation? So if you sort the element, then searching for the particular element will be easy in a sorted list when compared to unsorted list. Bubble sort will start by comparing the first element of the array with the second element. If the first element is greater than the second element, we need to swap both the elements and then move on to compare the second and third element and so on. So in bubble sort, this comparison starts from the first element with the second element. If the first element is larger than the second element, then we need to do a swapping with first element and the second element. If the first element is smaller than the second element, then no need to do any comparison. So we can continue this comparison with the third and fourth element. So with this we will complete sorting technique. Thank you.